11 o'clock here on this Thursday. Landrum Roberts, Conrad Van Order, Molly Robinson with you. Tighter Insiders, Rodney Orr going to join us momentarily. Pat's back with us tomorrow. We continue to get ready for Alabama and Oklahoma. The first game of the college football playoff gets started tomorrow night there in Norman, Oklahoma, and a good slate of games on Saturday. Got another bowl game coming up tonight. If you missed it yesterday, we had a doubleheader, one that started at 4 in the afternoon. Love that. We're going to get early kick tomorrow, Conrad. But yesterday we had South Florida. Some of the participating members of that South Florida team and coaching staff not available as they fall to ODU. And then in the nightcap, you had Delaware, the Blue Hens, getting it done. I think Ryan Phillippe went to Delaware.
Okay. And they got to take down Lunch Winfield.
They got to take down Lunch Winfield. A lot of your texts on the origin of the name Lunch. Of course, that was discussed during the broadcast.
Yeah, so a couple of you actually sent this
watch.
in. Yeah, I'm sorry. I was watching basketball. I was not watching Delaware football last night.
I'm not sorry. I was at a Christmas party.
Yeah, there you go. But this was actually really cool. They shared this on the broadcast. But apparently the reason his nickname is Lunch is because when he was a younger child, he was eating lunch with his family, and they turned around to do something. By the time they had turned around, he had already eaten his entire meal. And so since the age of, I believe they said it was 7, his nickname has been Lunch because he ate so fast as a kid. I like it.
Yeah?
I like it.
Yeah, we'll see what Rodney Orr thinks. Rodney Orr, Tighter Insider, joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline. Happy Thursday, Rodney. How are you?
I'm doing well, guys. How are the both of you?
Oh, we're doing great.
Fantastic.
Just trying to get ready for this game that we have been talking about for a month, though this is a separate game than the original game we were talking about in Tuscaloosa. We do get a favorable injury report update. What can you tell us? What's the latest coming out of Tuscaloosa as the guys that are available?
Well, I think when you look at the big name, of course, the most talked about has been Josh Cuevas, tight end. And talking to some people who've kind of been around and watching practices and so forth, and they've thought as the week has gone on, he's gotten more and more reps. He's looked better and better each day. And the expectation is that, at least based on our observers, is that they expect Josh Cuevas to play. Not sure how much exactly, but again, the feeling is that he's gotten better and better as the week's gone along. And Jam Miller, understand he's had a good week. He's run with some physicality, seems to be healthy, ready to go. So that's good news. Of course, Cam Dewberry was out this last game, and I think it sounds like Cam's okay. Now, LT Overton, of course, he's been listed as out for this game. So, obviously that'll be a loss again, as it was with Georgia.
Rodney, listening to Ryan Grubb this week, I think he's had some interesting things to say about the offense over the last couple of days when he's met with the media. I'm just curious from your perspective, tomorrow in this game, how important do you think it is for Alabama to get off to a hot start offensively? And by that, I mean, whether it's a field goal or ideally 7, but the first offensive possession that you have, how important do you think it is for this team to get in a rhythm early and get some of that momentum? Because I feel like you go back to, the Georgia game, the better performances they've had this year, it feels like they've gotten that hot start offensively, and then when they've struggled, it's been a little bit of a problem. I mean, it took them, 3.5 quarters to get going against Georgia last time we saw them. So how important is that to you tomorrow?
Yeah, I think especially on the road, it is important. And to me, I look at Alabama and I say, hopefully Jam Miller being back can enhance the run game a little bit, get you some yards on the ground. I think Alabama had 80 in the first game against Oklahoma, which, by the way, only gives up 81 per game. But so hopefully they can run the ball a little bit. But I really think that what Alabama, when they've been successful, they spread people out, they throw the football, and, Ty's performed really well. I mean, he had 326 yards passing in the first game against Oklahoma. So I think that, being a little aggressive, that's kind of the mindset I think I would go in with, to me. Rather than, try to start off the run game. I would really come out kind of like they did in Athens against Georgia, throwing the ball and being really aggressive. So I do think, like you said, it's important to get off to a really good start.
As far as Alabama defensively, we've seen them match up against Oklahoma already, but this is not an Oklahoma team that's going to scare you off the field with what they've done offensively so far. What are the big concerns for Kane Womack in that side of the ball in SARS from the matchups and some of what we saw in Tuscaloosa back a few weeks ago.
You know, yeah, and Mateer has been up and down a little bit. I mean, I think he only has 12 touchdown passes, 10 interceptions, but I think early in the season they were asking him to do a little bit more. It seems to me, throwing the football. They kind of backed off that a little bit. They've been more conservative at times. Just trying not to turn the ball over, protect the ball, play smart football, and they've lived off turnovers from other teams. They've taken the ball away, but for Kane Womack, I mean, I think the real thing is, number one is Mateer is capable. I mean, he's certainly capable as a passer. He's been streaky. So I think you have to be aware of that. And I think, too, his mobility, even though he wasn't really extremely effective against Alabama, he didn't do a lot of that, in the game in November. But he is capable as a runner. He can hurt you with his feet. And I think being disciplined to keep him kind of in the pocket and get some pressure on him, I think that's a real key.
So I want to go back on the injury front here quickly, and not about the people that are on the report, but if you watch the games, it's apparent that certain guys are banged up. Every team's banged up at this time of year, but we heard a lot from coaches about Parker Brailsford was dealing with an ankle sprain that he was playing through. Some of these guys, Jeremy Bernard's been banged up. Ty Simpson's been a little banged up, it feels like. So what can you tell us about some of those guys, maybe the ones that you haven't seen necessarily because they've still been on the field for Alabama, but how much better off are they with these 2 weeks of rest for some of those key guys?
Well, I think that's a great question, too, because my understanding is Parker Brailsford practiced very, very little prior to the SEC championship game. I mean, he basically went out there and kind of winged it because he didn't practice a whole lot that week. But my understanding is he's close to 100%. So that's going to be really key, obviously. I think Ty has just struggled with some things, certainly physically. I think he's got a back issue that he's dealt with. I think that how much it's actually impacted, on game day, I don't know. I mean, I do know that we've seen, in some of these games, the Auburn game, they've had design runs for him, so apparently they feel he's well enough. But yeah, he has dealt with that, and I'm sure there's been some nagging issues with it. But now, who was the other one you mentioned?
I was just kind of generally speaking, but Parker, Ty, you hit on him. Jeremy Bernard, I heard he's been a little banged up as well.
Yeah, and I think just overall, when you listen to what Kalen DeBoer has been saying for a few weeks now, he said this will be a different team. We will be a different team come the playoffs. And really, I think what he meant by that was, they'll be rested. A lot of the injured guys will be back. Those guys will be closer to 100%, maybe as close to 100% as they've been in several weeks. So I think that really is what, his comment was directed at, were the injuries. So I think, overall, and again, I know LT Overton's out for this game, but I think overall, yeah, I think it's going to be health-wise, they'll be in the best shape they've been in a while.
The national read as well as the local read, just overall, Rodney, of this game is low-scoring, rock fight. Do you agree, as you've been playing out how this game could go and the different scenarios and outcomes, do you see a way that this game gets into the mid-20s, even into the 30s?
Did you know that Alabama in their last 4 FBS games is averaging 18.75 points a game?
No, not until you just told me that.
That's not great.
Yeah. Oklahoma's averaging 26 points a game. Alabama's been struggling offensively. Since Alabama jumped out 17-zip on Auburn, they've been outscored 48-17. It's an offense, again, it's been struggling for various reasons. I mean, obviously struggled mightily in the Georgia game. So as far when I look at it, I certainly see a defensive struggle, and I see both of these defenses I think are obviously really good. They're top 10 type defenses in my opinion. When you talk about total yards, you talk about points given up. Alabama gives up 17, I think it is. Oklahoma gives up 13. They're really, really good. So being on the road, being there at Oklahoma is going to be, certainly. You can't go in there and turn the ball over like you did in Tuscaloosa and expect to have a great chance to win. I think when you look at Oklahoma, their special teams seem to be better to me. I know certainly their place kicker is phenomenal. I mean, he's 23 of 24 on the year. He's 7 of 7 from 55 yards. So if it comes down to a field goal, you would have a lot of confidence in him. I see it, Landrum, as a 3 to 6 point game either way. But on my TV show, I went with Alabama 20 to 14.
All right, Rodney. Rodney Orr from Tider Insider joining us here on the Higginbotham Hotline, as he does each and every Thursday on Three Man Front. Just kind of going back a couple of days, and we don't have to get into speculation of what happens based on the result tomorrow, but I just want to get your thoughts, your reaction when Kalen DeBoer, the statement comes out. He affirms that he's not talking to other programs. He's not interested in other job opportunities. He gets asked about it on Monday. He tells the media that, yes, he expects to be the head coach at Alabama next year. I just kind of wanted to get your reaction to the statement, how he's kind of handled that. And a lot of people seem to, be believing him and taking him at his word. What are your kind of thoughts on how he handled that whole situation?
Yeah, I think he's being honest about it. I mean, I don't have any other reason to think that he's not. And again, I don't know what kind of an impact the Oklahoma game would maybe have on his thinking. I would say this. I mean, I think it's reasonable to think this based on conversations I've had, people I've spoken with, things I've heard from the Michigan side, and people talking to media people up there as well. Listen, I think if Alabama were to lose the Oklahoma game, I think certainly Michigan has targeted Kalen DeBoer as their number one guy. Now, I know he's put out the public statements. I believe them to be true, but I think Michigan, if they were to lose, if Alabama were to lose tomorrow, I think they would make their pitch. I think they would make Kalen DeBoer tell them no. So that really wouldn't surprise me. And I think based on things I've heard, they would lay out a major offer for him. And I think probably Jimmy Sexton probably already has those numbers in front of him, would be my guess. But yes, I would not be at all surprised if Michigan tried to make a run here at Kalen DeBoer. And again, would he seriously consider it? I have my doubts, but you never know.
Rodney, I would like to get your thoughts on the report of Alabama adding Derek Nix as their wide receivers coach, and how much do you see as far as turnover with the coaching staff when the season does come to an end?
Yeah, I know that I guess DeBoer was asked about that yesterday about Nix, and he kind of said he wasn't ready to address it yet. But I do think, obviously, like you said, there are those reports, and it does seem like it's going to probably come to fruition. And everything I hear about Derek Nix, especially talking to my Ole Miss people over there who have a lot of history with him, they're extremely high on him in a lot of different areas as a coach, really solid coach, great relationships, all the things, So I think it'd be a really good hire. It sounds like. I know, again, he's got a good track record. As far as others, I really don't know. I mean, I know there's been some speculation about, more changes potentially even on the offensive side, not Ryan Grubb. I'm not referring to that, but there's been some, other discussions or certainly conversations, but it's been really nothing more, in my opinion, than message board type chatter.
I did want to ask you quickly, and again, it's been a couple of days, so if you don't have, the whole book out on this guy, I don't blame you. But can you tell us anything about Josh Ford, the tight end that Alabama got out of the portal from Oklahoma State earlier in the week?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I really like him. I mean, he's originally, I think, from Stillwater there at Oklahoma State where he was. And, he's obviously got great size. He's 6'6", probably 260, somewhere in that area. He did jump in the portal back in early October, right after Gundy was released there. So he's been in the portal a while. I think it's a big pickup. I mean, I think it's a really good pickup. You watch him on tape. He's athletic. I mean, he can run. He's big. He's got the frame. He can be physical at the line of scrimmage, and he gets out on those routes and catches the ball pretty well. So, I mean, again, I think everything I've seen of him, he looks really good. I like the pickup, as you start to put your portal group together.
All right, I wanted to ask you quickly, too, before we let you get out of here, because I brought this up. I learned this yesterday from Richard Sherman, and it blew my mind, but I'm sure you know because you're the Alabama savant. Did you know that Julio Jones, his real name is not Julio?
Yeah, and it's You'll have to tell me what
No,
it is.
no,
But I knew it was
no. It starts with a Q. Come on, see if you can get it.
Quintorius.
Yeah,
Yes,
there we
Rodney.
go. I knew you would know that. Yeah, I learned that yesterday, and I shared it with Landrum this morning, and our minds were just blown that Julio is it's a nickname. It's not even his middle name.
It
It's just a
doesn't.
nickname.
It doesn't catch the same, Rodney. No pun intended.
No, it doesn't.
Uh-uh.
No. I think I'd stick with Julio. I like that.
It's worked out well for you.
Yeah, it has. Rodney, we always appreciate the time. Once again, you predicted Alabama by what, 3, 4 points? 6.
20 to 14.
Yeah, I picked it 20 to 14. Like I said, I think it's 3 to 6 either way, either team, really. But I went with Alabama 20 to 14.
All right, Rodney. Well, you have yourself a very Merry Christmas. Enjoy the weekend. Brace for impact. Whatever could happen. And we know you're always ready there at Tighter Insider.
Always.
Rodney, thank you so much.
Thanks, Rodney.
Okay, guys, appreciate it. Y'all take care.
You as well.
Yep. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Rodney or on the Higginbotham hotline. You deserve solutions that are built for you. Higginbotham's your one-source solution for insurance, financial, and HR services. We unpack what Rodney just told us as we get ready for tomorrow night. Three-Man Front continues on this Thursday. 11:20, in case you missed it, Rodney or Tighter Insider. His visit available at jocksfm.com and the Three Man Front podcast. He picked Alabama to win by 6. 20-14 was the final prediction. Under the number seems to be the consensus. Oh, and I hate that.
Which means it'll go over, right?
I know, and I'm going – and for what we do on the show, definitely going to go with the under. But if I was betting, which I'm not, but if I was betting, that would make me very nervous as a member of the public.
Yeah, this one's, and anytime it's, like a 1-point game or 1-point spread kind of thing, it's tricky to go either side of that because the margins are so slow. It's basically a pick 'em, but then, anytime you take the under on a game like this, just put it like this, Iowa's not playing, so it's not a lock.
Right. Good news, though, on Cuevas, and Rodney saying that not only is he available, it looks like he has progressed and gotten better and better as the week's gotten on, gotten more reps. That's really good news. Danny Lewis Jr., of course. But then Jam Miller being healthy, having that guy back there, you don't have those concerns. That's huge.
No, you're absolutely right. Having those guys cleared and ready to go, because, those are all guys that you were without against Georgia. I think you have to feel a lot better. And, I thought Rodney, the things he's saying about Parker Brailsford, Ty Simpson, Jeremy Bernard, some of those guys that have still been on the field, but clearly we're not at 100%. Seems like they're progressing. And I know there's been – Rodney said it, but there's been a lot of buzz about Ty Simpson having a back issue, and that is what we believe to be part of the problem with Ty Simpson. But according to Rodney, it seems, that it's not that big of a factor.
When you look at Oklahoma's offense, is it Satania?
Yes.
That's as an Alabama fan, that's the guy that you're most concerned about? Because it does seem like, and I know he's not, but when there have been good things that have happened on offense, Satania has been the guy.
No, you're absolutely right. He is the guy that you have to circle if you're Alabama going into that game. Deion Burks has a little bit of that going to it as well, but I go back to what's the last game we saw Oklahoma play? They played LSU at the end of the season. They were trailing in that game with 4 minutes left to go. Isaiah Satania had a 70-yard touchdown. That's what won him the game.
He's a game breaker.
And you go back to the first time they played Alabama. He had that big punt return early in the game that set them up early. So, he's the guy. If you can eliminate him as a factor, which is very difficult to do, I think you feel really good about your chances. But, that's the guy you double team.
Especially now that John Mateer isn't maybe the two-headed monster that you thought he was prior to the injury, because he's definitely been a different quarterback.
He absolutely has.
That number that he threw out, the 12 touchdowns and 10 interceptions.
Yeah.
That's startling.
Well, you go back to, so he had the one rushing touchdown against Alabama. He had 23 rushing yards in that game, and one of them was a 20-yard rushing touchdown. No, but he didn't throw a touchdown, didn't throw an interception, though. But, you go back, he's thrown 3 touchdowns or more in one game this year, and it was against Illinois State in the season opener. That's it. Last game, he had 2 touchdowns, 3 interceptions against LSU. That's where the big difference can be for Alabama, right? If instead of you being down 3-0 in the turnover margin, let's say you win it 2-0 or 2-1, you get a couple of picks of Mateer.
Or, as you said, get off to the good start. Build a couple of touchdowns or a 2-score lead. Put them in a situation where it's got to be Mateer taking chances.
Yes.
And then that's where hopefully you capitalize on the opportunity and get some of those takeaways. We'll get to your phone calls. 205-834-9450 on the text line as well. Let's go to Derry first. Hey, Derry, how are you?
Hey, doing pretty good. How you guys doing?
Doing great.
Doing
Thank
well.
you.
Awesome, man. Appreciate the show. Appreciate the information coming in from Rodney, man. Good breakdown. Some good predictions. I think this game, Alabama and Oklahoma, I think the game is actually going to be higher scoring. Only because, and something I think you guys mentioned this earlier, but Kaden DeBoer says is just Alabama's going to be a different team tomorrow. And also, the reason why I say that, if you look at our season, is that basically even through all the 4 straight wins against top 10 opponents, we were limping. We've been limping for like 8 weeks. When Ty Simpson came out, and he just couldn't miss after the Florida State game, et cetera, et cetera. Guys started getting hurt. Jam Miller getting hurt. Of course, when Cuevas went down in the Oklahoma game, I was at that game. And things just started snowballing. But even with that, we were winning, right? Of course, once we ran into Oklahoma, of course we lost, et cetera. We lost against Georgia, et cetera, et cetera. But all in all, when you think about that, and when you think about how Alabama has the resolve and the perseverance of this team, and I think that's what builds a team's character. And that kind of alludes to another thought around Kalen DeBoer. Michigan trying to get him. Kalen ain't going nowhere. I tell you, in my opinion, is related to the relationship that Kalen and Nick Saban has. It's almost like an unspoken gesture of respect for who Nick Saban is and was as a coach at Alabama. So Kalen DeBoer is not going. I don't care what they throw, and they can throw $100 million at it. He's not going to do it because I think Kalen DeBoer has found home. I think he and his wife and family is going to be at Alabama for a long time. And really, if you look at it too, his season is similar to how Nick Saban started at Alabama. So last thing I can say is that the pickup of the tight end from Oklahoma State, it's an ode to Cuevas. It shows that Alabama is already installing next year's offense with that pickup, and it's going to be Cuevas 2.0. And I've said it for a long time. The tight end is the key to championship. So roll Tide, man. Thank you guys for what you're doing.
Derry, thank you. Merry Christmas. We appreciate you.
Yeah, appreciate the call, Derry. I like the very confident in Kalen DeBoer and his future in Tuscaloosa.
Bama Mark, welcome in.
Hey, guys. How y'all doing today?
Doing great. How
Doing
are you?
well.
Oh, hanging in there, just driving back from Mississippi again.
Well,
hey,
be careful.
Yeah, I know. I didn't. Hopefully, the rain stopped now. I'm back in more on the Alabama side. Get close to Northport. But I think Alabama's going. It's going to be a higher scoring game than everybody thinks it is going to be.
Okay.
I've been watching that line, and Alabama came out as a 1.5 point favorite. Now that line has gone all the way to Oklahoma, 1.5. And the over/under has dropped from 40.5 to 39.5. That's everybody all the gamblers in the country are taking Oklahoma in the under. I think it's going to go Alabama and over. So, for sure. I know people who have gambled, and I've seen a lot of crazy things happen in my 60 years. But I think Alabama's going to win, and I think they're going to go over the total of 40. Another thing, I think Alabama should go after another decent running back in the portal, some offensive linemen and some defensive linemen. I saw a thing last night where they said Raiola could be linked to Alabama. I'm not a big Raiola fan. I don't think he's really that good. What is y'all's opinion on him?
I
think he's a good player, but
yeah.
I think that's probably. I think that's something that somebody.
I would rather roll the dice with the guy I already have in that quarterback room.
Yeah, Dylan Raiola is not going to Alabama.
No, if I would have to do that, I'd probably rather go get Levitt out there at Arizona State if he goes into the portal. I think he's a better quarterback. Also, real quick, one thing that I've noticed, we haven't run many slants this year. When they bring linebackers, that middle of the field is wide open. Mm-hmm. When we were successful with Tua and Mac Jones, when they bring pressure, we'd hit those slants. And if they get by the safety, they're going to the house. I don't understand why our receivers and Ty cannot look when and anticipate, okay, these guys are coming in hard. All right, let's break off the route, run these quick slants. Yeah. I mean, it's there.
It does seem like you don't see that as much in the DeBoer era as you did maybe in the Saban era, and I don't know the reasons for that. But
it seems like Ryan Williams would be tailor-made for that.
Those guys that they had at wide receiver, go back to that game that they had in Atlanta where they opened up the season and they played Miami. You remember Jamison Williams taking a 9-10 yard simple pass and then turned on the Jets and broke it for 80 plus. Yeah. That's a good point that you bring up. I hadn't really thought about it, but no, you're right. Now that I do think about it, we've seen less of that.
And it just puzzles me because I'll be sitting there watching with my friends, and I'll be like, here they come. They're coming over fresh. The linebackers are coming. And I said, well, check off the slant. And then they keep running these longer routes, and then Ty ends up getting sacked or he has to throw it away. And I don't have no hair. I'm about to pull whatever hair I got left on my head out. I'm like, guys, I don't understand why you don't check off to this.
Yeah,
I don't know.
And I have to give that coaching staff the benefit of the doubt. There's probably a really good explanation as to why. It's not just us asking these questions, but no. I can't answer it.
I can't either, man. It blows my mind. And I think we should also run more outside. instead of trying to run up the middle more. I really like AK Deer. I think using his speed to get him out on sweeps and stuff like that could really benefit us instead of trying to run straight up the middle all the time.
Right. Well, Bama
Y'all
Mark,
have a wonderful Merry Christmas, man. Y'all have a blessed New Year.
Thank you,
you as
Mark.
well. Merry Christmas to you and your family, and Happy New Year. By the way, the latest from Vegas, Oklahoma a 1-point favorite.
Okay.
The over/under is at 41.
Okay.
So, and it might be another outlet or another number that he had seen, but that is the latest from betonline.ag. And so, Bama Mark, take that. But he likes Alabama, and he likes it going over that total. Interesting if that happens.
Two calls in a row that like it to go over the total. And I'll say this, I thought he brought up some good points. Like, I've asked a lot of those same questions of why do you not run outside more? Because it seems like there's opportunities there to get on the edge and have some speed. It feels like
Is that something with the slants that you had designed for Ryan Williams? And
well, I go back to the Florida State game, and you saw some of those throws across the middle to him, and that's when we got the drops and the I don't want to get hit and that kind of thing.
That's where we met our friend from Georgia on the text line.
Exactly. And that's where I think some of that maybe is, they're a little cautious about that. But I go back to, and maybe I'm misremembering it, but I mean, and I know they were playing Western Kentucky or whoever it was, but the first game of Ryan Williams' career, right? He had those 2 touchdowns. If I'm not mistaken, like very early in that game. Yeah, it was like a little crossing route across the middle of the field, and boom, he breaks a tackle. He's going 60 yards to the house, and that was the beginning of Ryan Williams.
Well, his biggest play have been overruns or just a missed tackle with him stopping and starting.
I was about to say, he does the stop and restart, and his quickness is insane, but it does feel like there have been times this year for Ty where maybe the quick pass or the check down is open, but he's looking for something bigger than that. And I can't tell you how many times during Alabama games this year I've said some form of, you just need 4 yards. Why are you trying to get 14? Well, just get the 4 yards.
Well, and against this defense in particular and what Venables runs, we know a lot of times you go with a 3 safety look. And the idea is they're going to keep everything below them, not going to let you beat them on the big play. Yep. But those kind of slants where there's one-on-ones in the matchups and you got an elite guy with elite speed like a Ryan Williams, those are the ones that break. And that's how you can have big play capability against those types of defenses. But my prediction is every yard is going to have to be earned. You just got to be consistent. And it's like you said, let's get more of those 4 yards. Let's just be consistent with the 4 yards plays. Move the chains, capitalize when you're in the red zone. Don't turn the ball over.
And it's easier
it sounds
said,
simple.
I was about to say, it's easier said than done, but guess what? If you get 4 yards on every play, you will score a touchdown every single time you
Tell
have
you
the
what's
ball.
not going to work for this Alabama offense. This Alabama offense facing 2nd and 15 all night.
Can't be doing that.
That's not going to happen.
No.
You don't have Derrick Henry back there, and you don't have some of those offensive lines.
And that Georgia game's not coming back. You're not going 13 of 19 on 3rd down again. It's not going to happen.
No, not out there.
Nope.
All right, we'll continue. Lots of your texts. We'll continue with the phone calls as well. Rob Pate at 11:45, 3-man front on a Thursday. 11:37. Lance from Conrad and Molly. Thanks for joining us. We continue to preview Alabama, Oklahoma. A lot of interesting conversation coming in on that game. Higher scoring game, lower scoring game. What does Ty Simpson need to do? Health of the Crimson Tide seems to be trending in an upward direction right now. Oklahoma, a 1-point favorite. 41 is the total out in Las Vegas.
Well, we're about to get to your text on the courtesy GMC text line 205-834-9450 if you want to jump in on the conversation. But you also don't want to get caught in the cold, so schedule a system checkup now from a Train Comfort specialist. Train has been recognized now for 11 consecutive years as America's most trusted HVAC brand, and they are our exclusive home comfort partners right here at Jock. So go visit them online today at train.com to find a comfort specialist near you.
Text line is open, 205-834-9450. Conrad, I'm going to ask that you read the text, but we're going to do something a little bit different. Molly, I want you to chime in as well. We are going to pick different voices. It can be Christmas voices, whatever, that he has to read certain text in.
I like this game.
Are you good with that?
Yeah, I'm perfect.
You want to throw out the first voice?
Can you do Aunt Bethany?
Can you do Aunt Bethany
No,
from
this is going to be
Christmas
so
Vacation?
bad.
Do we have any Christmas music underneath we could throw?
All right.
Can you do Aunt Bethany?
We're doing Aunt Bethany. The blessing. All right, this is going to be really bad. This text comes in. Y'all need to get it started. Spread it loud. Alabama needs to go get Joe Craddock while he's still available. I told you these are going to be bad.
Okay.
These are going to be bad.
Is Rusty still in the Navy?
How about...
Molly's is so much better than mine.
All right, for the next one, can you do Norwal from the movie Elf?
Oh.
It's there in the beginning.
Hey, buddy, I hope you find your
There it
dad.
is.
That's good.
See, that's a good
yeah.
one. Yeah,
Okay.
do the next one than that one.
Barter Basher chimes in. He says, how long or short a leash is DeBoer going to have Simpson on tomorrow night? That's going to be my best one. I'll just let you know. It's not getting better than that.
No, that was really good.
How long of a leash?
I do not
I don't
I do not buy into the I think Ty Simpson's going to play.
He's got the remote shot collar. There is no leash.
I think unless he gets injured, you're going to see him for 60 minutes tomorrow.
But thanks for the question. And thanks, Conrad or Norwal, for reading that.
Can you do Marv from Home Alone?
That's Joe Pesci,
is that Joe
right?
Pesci?
Yes, yeah.
Marv! Something like that.
God, this is going to be bad. Okay. Okay.
Do it.
Ryan Williams has been hit too hard running across the middle. He's dropped the last 5 balls thrown to him across the middle.
I don't know.
That wasn't Marv, but it was something.
That was an angry person. The next one, can you do it in Don Don's voice?
Oh, all right. All right, y'all. Don Don here. I'm a Bama fan. This is Don Don. I'm a Bama fan, but why are we acting like Josh Cuevas and Jam Miller or something like Gronk and Barry Sanders?
That was pretty good.
That was good.
Love you, Don Don.
That is a fair question, though. I mean, Jam Miller and Josh Cuevas are very good, but no, it's not. You're not getting Derrick Henry and O.J. Howard back for the, in Alabama terms.
Can you do the Tom Hanks conductor who you thought was Borat?
Who you thought was Borat?
I can do Borat probably better than Tom Hanks. Like,
Very nice.
all aboard! I see. I feel like Tom Hanks is just kind of like a normal voice.
What about Santa Claus? Can you do that one?
Oh yeah, we can do Santa Claus. We can do Santa Claus. Let's find a good text for this. Ho ho ho! Ohio University is a public school, meaning it's technically state property. Most states prohibit alcohol outside of certain enumerated functions and activities. Ho ho ho! To the letter of the law, it's a fireable offense. Regardless, it's hard to believe it's not something else. Ho ho ho!
There you go. That was good.
That was good.
Going back, somebody that said y'all need to get it started, spread it loud. Alabama needs to go get Joe Craddock while he's still available. I think the world of Joe. I know Joe personally. I know that everybody professionally, they speak the world of Joe as an offensive mind and a young football coach. So I will shout it to the rooftops. Joe Craddock is available. Go and get him.
Yeah, no, I think that would be.
I'd love to have him back in the state of Alabama.
I think that'd be a good one. All right, can we do normal text now, or do you want me to keep doing
You can do
voices?
normal.
Okay, we'll
That's
do
fine.
normal.
But thank you for being a sport.
I tried my best. I
You
appreciate
always
it. Santa Chuck Hurst says not a bad Santa impression, so thank you.
No, it wasn't bad.
I appreciate that. Let's see. Vicky chimes in. Why can't Alabama defend the shuffle pass? That is a great question. I wish I had the answer to that one as well because it pisses me off every time. But yeah, they haven't been great. Great defending those. Let's see. This text rolls in. It says I guess this is talking about the national championship. It says for the two teams that get to the championship game, will their players who enter the portal get to stay and play in the championship game? My understanding is that they have a window after the season ends where they can enter the portal, right?
Yes, I believe so.
I can't remember if it's 5 days.
I'll have to
or
double
what
check
it is, but
we've changed this rule every year since it started.
But I do know you've also had Bo Pribula, for example. We talked about him. He's entering the portal again. Last year, he entered the portal before Penn State started their playoff run, so he wasn't with them for the playoff. But I'm pretty sure after the season ends, you still have a couple of days if you want to enter the portal that you could do that without leaving your team before the playoff. But we can double check on that. This one says, whoever turned in Brian Smith to the administration of Ohio, that's the person that needs to be fired. I don't totally disagree with that. This one says, I thought everyone had bourbon in their desk. My afternoons always fly right by.
Back in Mad Men, they'd have a nice scotch after breakfast.
Let's see. Someone said, this is the worst. Conrad, please stop doing your impressions. I'm sorry.
Oh, they're pretty good.
No more impressions.
I'm just sorry we didn't get to please do Jack Nicholson voice.
I don't want to do a disservice to Jack.
Or Mailman.
I can't do that.
One of our great callers.
Mailman out. That's all I can do for Mailman. Okay, now we're getting conflicting reports on Lunch Winfield and why his name became what it was. Because multiple people have texted in saying they talked about it on the broadcast. This person's now texting and they said, I thought Lunch got his nickname from his grandfather when he was a child because he stole his grandfather's lunch. Okay, well, maybe that's what it was. Something about him eating lunch really fast, I think, is the genesis of the nickname for the Louisiana quarterback.
Dutchman is telling us that Harry in Home Alone is Joe Pesci and Marv is Daniel Stern.
Oh, okay. Well,
so we'll have to do that one again.
Well, one of them.
Sorry. Let's see. Tay from Birmingham. Quay Russaw didn't play against Oklahoma the first time, and that will definitely boost the defense. And it will. However, on the other side, Oklahoma will also have R. Mason Thomas, who they did not have the first time, and he is – Quay Russaw is a great player, but R. Mason Thomas is the best player on that Oklahoma defense. So it kind of evens each other out, I would say.
You need me on that wall. You want me on that wall.
This one comes in from Robert Woods, former receiver for the Texans and the Rams and the Titans. It says, all these folks calling in telling Alabama what they need to do and who they need to hire and fire. I wonder how they did it when they were coaching or playing. It's very easy to play armchair quarterback.
Well,
I get it.
I can tell you with my 5- and 6-year-old lug nuts T-ball team back in the day, we faced something very, very similar. I'll get into it. Never. Rob Pate joins us next. 11:48. Conrad working on some new impersonations during the break. Working through some of those things.
Not my strong suit, not my forte.
Well, that's why we wanted you to do it.
No, I know.
And you were a trooper, and you did it live on the air.
I tried
Put
my
yourself
best.
out there. We
Tried my
appreciate it.
best.
The guy who puts himself out there for the community. He's an entrepreneur, an eye doctor, and is just a great father and grandfather. It's hard to believe because we're like the same age. Rob Pate joining us. Hey, Rob, how are you?
Hey, guys. I'm good. How are y'all doing?
Doing well. We do want to get your thoughts because Auburn obviously playing Oklahoma in the end of the year, wrapped up their season versus Alabama on that title game we're going to get tomorrow night. But as far as Alex Golesh, the staff, and what's been put in place, what you're seeing, Rob, are you seeing a theme, and how impressed are you with the young Auburn head coach so far?
I think he's done a great job of assembling a staff. I mean, he's bringing in guys with a lot of experience, guys with experience in this league, guys that have done it at a high level, and I think that means a ton. I think offensively, they predominantly a lot of guys that know his system and have been in it. Having quarterback guys, offensive line guys that mesh well. A guy like Cody Burns has been with him, is kind of his right-hand man. I get that part. And then defensively, I think that staff is going to be a really, really special staff. So, can they do well from a portal standpoint and bring in players, that fit the system well? We'll have to see. What we don't know about is kind of how they evaluate and what they deem is important in their scheme, and we just have to kind of sit back and see what they do. But it's hard to argue with what he's done from a personnel standpoint with the coaching staff. Yeah.
So you bring up the portal, and that's kind of where I wanted to go with this, Rob. And we can talk about some of the guys that have left. Jay Crawford and Malik Blockton this morning. Some other guys announcing that they're planning to hit the portal. But I wanted to ask you about somebody that's going to stick around first, and that's Xavier Atkins. I think we all agree he was probably the best player on Auburn's entire team this year, and certainly one of the best defenders in all of college football. How important was it for this staff to retain a guy like that and have him to build around heading into next year and beyond?
Well, it's massive. I mean, you'd be hard pressed to name somebody that I would say had a more dominant season than what Xavier Atkins had. He was an animal and was great at everything he did, and took no games off. I mean, he showed up each Saturday and played phenomenal. And so they need that leadership. They need that connectivity from the back end to the front four, and him patrolling that middle. That is big. I think we're seeing a lot more decisions coming forth from defensive guys out of the gate initially because of the retention of Coach Durkin, and probably him being able to place a value, a monetary value, which is just crazy to think that's what has to be done. But I think that they're probably just ahead of the game with the personnel and his assessment. I'm sure that Coach Golesh is leaning heavily on Coach Durkin to come up with the value for each one of these guys, and now you're kind of seeing how that compares to what the guys think their value is. And a guy like Jay Crawford, a guy like Malik Blockton, they think that they're worth more than what Auburn's willing to pay. And so you lose them. But you have to trust your staff. You have to trust their evaluations. And that's the hard part if you're an Auburn fan, because you're seeing guys walk out the door that have been playmakers and been a part of a really good defense. But you also have to say, hey, that staff, they're the ones that value those guys, and they have the ability to pay them more if they think that they're worth it, and they don't, and they're going to let them walk. And so you just have to be trustworthy at this point with that. Without
you, Rob, being a part of these negotiations, it's going to be your best guess, but you're entrenched there in the Auburn community and a letterman and playing there in your past. The two names we hear the most here in Birmingham and here on the show about Auburn and what are they going to do? It's wide receiver Cam Coleman and it's Deuce Knight, quarterback. What is your best guess as to what are you hearing? What's the buzz? Is there a belief that both of those guys come back?
I think that the sentiment right now is that they both come back, and I think that like we said initially, all these coaching staff guys offensively are new, and so they're having to watch film to get their their analysis and what they think these guys are market value for. And look, they don't determine the market value. The market does, and they're just one aspect of that. So they'll have to decide, based off of their experience in South Florida, based off of what they think is going to hit the portal, if these guys are going to be huge, expenditures for what Auburn football can pay. But I think that they're going to do everything they can to try to keep both of those guys because they know how valuable they are, and they know that they're going to be hard-pressed to find talent that's equivalent in the portal, no matter who jumps in it. So those are ones that I think that they'll try to lock up. But I still think that they'll go after another quarterback that has experience because you just can't rely on somebody that hasn't shown it, and that's the negative with all this. That's what's going to affect high school recruiting. There's almost zero reason to go recruit a high school quarterback at this point. None. I mean, I don't think that there's why would you pay a guy to come in and sit and him count against the money that you can pay others when the likelihood of him playing for you are so slim. And so that's a shame that that's going to happen. But some of these smaller divisions, guys are going to have to come up through the smaller ranks to prove their worth to get up to SEC football caliber at that position.
All right, Rob, before we let you get out of here real quick, we have the playoffs starting tomorrow, Alabama, Oklahoma. You saw both of them play Auburn, and Auburn played them close both of those times this year. What do you think about the matchup tomorrow? Do you have an early prediction for Alabama, Oklahoma?
Yeah, I think Alabama got an incredible draw as the only 3-loss team in the playoffs, and I think it's very difficult to beat a team twice. So I think Alabama is probably a better team, and I think they'll win that game by probably 10 or more points.
There it is. Hey, Rob Pate, we appreciate you, brother, as always, who you
man,
are.
Appreciate you guys.
Merry Christmas to you and your family.
Merry Christmas, Rob.
Same, guys. Merry Christmas. Thank you.
Thank you, brother. All right. Rob Pate joining us. He likes Alabama by more than one score.
By double digits.
What? Too much eggnog.